question, sketch 4y minus x plus 8 equal to 0. And to do this, we're going to use the table method. So first of all, let's take the equation 4y minus x plus 8 equal to 0. And let's take it to standard form. Now the standard form for a straight line or linear function is always y is equal to mx plus c. Right? So we want to try and take this equation to the standard form of y is equal to mx plus c. Now to do that, first of all, we're going to take negative x over to the right hand side. It will become a positive. So 4y is equal to, take the minus x over to the right hand side, it will become then positive x. And we're also going to take the positive 8 to the right hand side. So it will become minus 8. But as you can see in the standard form, we want to get y alone on the left hand side, and at this stage we have 4y. So we still need to get rid of this 4 over here. It stands in multiplication form with the y currently. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide by 4 on the left hand side. And if you do this, you have to do it right through. So the left hand side, the 4's cancel out, so you're just left with y. So y is equal to, now we can say that x over 4 is the same as 1x over 4. And this 1x over 4 can be written as a quarter x. So rather say a quarter and put x in the middle, right? And then minus 8 divided by 4 will give me 2. The next step that we need to do is to take the given x values that's been given to us and substitute each of these values into my equation to find the corresponding y value. And as you can see, my first value over here in my table for x is negative 2. So we take negative 2, sub it into the equation, and let's work it out. Y is equal to quarter x, the first value we said is going to be negative 2 in the table, so let's substitute negative 2 into x, but negative 2 is the same as negative 2 over 1, and we still have the minus 2. And if we work this out, we can see that a quarter times negative 2 will give me negative half. And the negative half, negative 2 will give me negative 2 and a half. So let's write down negative 2 and a half is the answer. Right, take this negative 2 and a half and put it into your table by the corresponding x value. Because remember now, you've used minus 2 in the equation, and it worked out as y is negative 2 and a half. Okay, so we put it into the table. Negative 2 and a half. The next value we're going to substitute into the equation is -1. So let's take the same equation now, and let's just substitute x over here with -1. So y is equal to 1/4. And now substitute x with, that's right, -1. And so we get bracket -1 still -2, and we work it out, and we can see over here that 1/4 times -1 is -1/4. -1/4 -2 will give me -2 and 1/4. And put this value into your table. Right, the next value we're going to sub in is 0. So let's substitute 0 into x over here. So that will give us then y is equal to 1/4 times 0 minus 2. And you know that 1/4 times 0 is 0 minus 2 will give you -2. And put that into your table. The next x value is 1. Put it into the equation. A 1/4 times 1 is 1/4. 1/4 times 1 is 1/4 minus 2 will give me -1 and 3/4. -1 and 3/4. Right, and the next x value we're going to substitute in, the last one is 2. Let's substitute that into the equation here. Right. And 1/4 times 2 is 1/2, and 1/2 minus 2 is -1 and 1/2. Put it into the table. -1 and 1/2. Right, now we need to plot our coordinates from our table. And the first coordinate over here is when x is -2, y is -2 and 1/2. Where x is -2, and y is -2 and 1/2. Right, so on my graph, approximately it should be over here. As you can see over there, at that point there, my x is -2 and my y is -2 and 1/2. That's my first coordinate. Right, let's move on to the second coordinate, which is x is -1 and y is -2 and 1/4. Approximately there. Next coordinate, when x is 0, y is -2, It's over there. And for the next one, when x is 2, our y is negative 1.5. Which is approximately over there. Okay, now to come back to the question, they never gave us a restriction for x in the question. And when I don't give you a restriction for x, you always choose your own values. For example, we've chosen negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so if I don't give you a restriction, normally you'll choose these values over here. Right? So, they never told me where x will stop, so it means it will just carry on and on and on. So, to draw the graph, it's going to be a straight line going through those points, and we put arrowheads on for the reason that they never gave me the x restrictions, a restriction in other words on the domain. There was no domain restriction. So you are allowed to put onto your straight line these arrowheads. And always write down the equation of the graph down. That will give you extra mark in a test. So y is equal to the standard form quarter x minus 2.